I'm Mark Strassman, publisher of Etopia News. 2 days ago, on January 23rd, 2007, a resolution was introduced in the New Mexico legislature calling for the impeachment of George Bush and Richard Cheney, and I'd like to read it to you now. It's entitled A Discussion Draft of the Senate Joint Resolution, 48th Legislature, State of New Mexico, First Session, 2007. It's a joint resolution petitioning Congress to commence the investigation of and impeachment proceedings against President George W. Bush and Vice President Richard B. Cheney. Whereas George W. Bush and Richard B. Cheney conspired with others to defraud the United States of America by intentionally misleading Congress and the public regarding the threat from Iraq in order to justify a war in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 371, and whereas George W. Bush has admitted to ordering the National Security Agency to conduct electronic surveillance of American civilians without seeking warrants from the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court of Review, duly constituted by Congress in 1978, in violation of Title 50 United States Code Section 1805, and whereas George W. Bush and Richard B. Cheney conspired to commit the torture of prisoners in violation of Title 18 United States Code, Chapter 113C, the United Nations Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman, or Degrading Treatment or Punishment, and the Geneva Conventions, which under Article 6 of the United States Constitution are part of the, quote, supreme law of the land, end quote, and whereas George W. Bush and Richard B. Cheney acted to strip American citizens of their constitutional rights by ordering indefinite detention without access to legal counsel, without charge, and without the opportunity to appear before a civil judicial officer to challenge the detention, based solely on the discriminatory designation by the President of a United States citizen as an, quote, enemy combatant, end quote, all in subversion of law, and whereas in all of this, George W. Bush and Richard B. Cheney have acted in a manner contrary to their trust as President and Vice President, subverting constitutional government to the great prejudice of the cause of law and justice, and to the manifest injury of the people of New Mexico and of the United States of America. And whereas petitions from the country at large may be presented by the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, according to Clause 3 of House Rule 12, and whereas Section 603 of Thomas Jefferson's Manual on Parliamentary Practice and of the Rules of the United States House of Representatives states that impeachment may be set in motion by charges transmitted from the legislature of a state. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the legislature of the state of New Mexico that George W. Bush and Richard B. Cheney, by such conduct, warrant impeachment and trial and removal from office and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States, and be it further resolved that the New Mexico congressional delegation be requested to cause to be instituted in the Congress of the United States proper proceedings for the investigation of the activities of George W. Bush and Richard B. Cheney, to the end that they may be impeached and removed from their offices, and be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be instructed to certify and transmit to the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives and the Clerk of the United States House of Representatives, under the Great Seal of the State of New Mexico, a copy of this resolution and its adoption by the legislature of the State of New Mexico. The copies shall be marked with the word, quote, petition, end quote, at the top of the document and contain the original authorizing signature of the Secretary of State. That's it.